বিসমিল্লাহির রহমানির রহিম। সুপ্রিয় শিক্ষার্থী বন্ধুরা, আর একটা নতুন ক্লাসে তোমাদেরকে সুস্বাগত। আমাদের আজকের ক্লাসের আলোচ্য বিষয় হচ্ছে হিউম্যান রাইটস ইন ডেভেলপমেন্ট। তোমরা অলরেডি স্ক্রিনে কোর্স সিলেবাসটা দেখতে পাচ্ছ ফর দ্য ফাইনাল এক্সাম। Core syllabus consists of human rights, fundamental history, that is definition, differences, history, types. Number 2, human rights and fundamental rights under national international law, including the Constitution of Bangladesh. Number 3, development of SDG and Bangladesh. Number 4, development activities of UN, NGO and NGOs in the context of Bangladesh. Development and the financial sectors of Bangladesh. Development and human rights, a comparative study or critical analysis of the implementation of human rights and development. 7, violation of human rights, national and international perspectives. Then teacher gives an assignment. Write or type an assignment on any one of the topic of 2000 words by the 30th June 2026 and send to Ahmazuzzaman seu@gmail.com Monday at 9 p.m. Review class will be held inshallah. Dr. Ahmazuzzaman. So let's have the topic. Concept number 1, concept of human rights, fundamental rights, that is definition, differences, history, types, etc. Also describe human rights and fundamental rights in Bangladesh Constitution. Human rights. Human rights are inherent, universal, moral entitlement possessed by every person simply for being human, regardless of nationality or status. Fundamental rights are a specific subset of these rights that are state explicitly codified into its constitution, making them judicially enforceable within that country's legal system. আচ্ছা, এখানে বলছি হিউম্যান রাইটস হচ্ছে ইনহেরেন্ট, জন্মগত, ইউনিভার্সাল, সার্বজনীন, মোরাল এন্টারটেনমেন্ট, নৈতিক অধিকার, পজেসড বাই এভরি পার্সন, যেটা প্রত্যেক মানুষ পজেসড হয়। আর ফান্ডামেন্টাল রাইট হচ্ছে মৌলিক অধিকার। আর স্পেসিফিক সাবসেট, এটা হচ্ছে একটা সুনির্দিষ্ট সাবসেট অফ দিস রাইট দ্যাট আর স্টেট explicitly codified into its constitution, making them judicially enforceable within that country's legal system. বলছে যেটা সংবিধান দ্বারা স্বীকৃত আদালতে মামলা করে অর্জন করা যায়, সেটা হচ্ছে ফান্ডামেন্টাল রাইট। কি ডিফারেন্স অ্যান্ড স্কোপ অ্যান্ড রিকগনিশন। হিউম্যান রাইটস আর ইউনিভার্সাল, গ্লোবাল. Fundamental rights are localized. They vary depending on country's specific constitution and are limited primarily to citizens or residents of that state. তাহলে হিউম্যান রাইট হচ্ছে সারা বিশ্বের সব নাগরিকের জন্য সমান, কিন্তু ফান্ডামেন্টাল রাইটস হচ্ছে রাষ্ট্রে রাষ্ট্রে ভিন্ন থাকতে পারে। এনফোর্সেবিলিটি, হিউম্যান রাইটস আর প্রাইমারিলি championed by international organizations like UN. Fundamental rights are enforceable in national courts. Citizens can directly sue the state if these rights are violated. Origin, human rights are driven from natural law and human dignity. Fundamental rights are positive law, guaranteed and protected by the sovereign state. SOVREIGN, state. History, the concept of human rights tracks back to ancient philosophy, natural law and religious context. Modern human rights are emerged globally after World War II with the formation of United Nations and culminating in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights UDHR in 1948. Fundamental rights conversely evolved as countries began adopting writing constitution, that is the US Bill of Rights and the French Declaration of the Rights of Man, to legally limit state power. Types of rights. Both human and fundamental rights are broadly categorized into civil and political rights. Right to life, freedom of speech, assembly and religion. Economic, social and cultural rights. Right to work, education and health. Human and fundamental rights in the Bangladesh Constitution. The Constitution of Bangladesh establishes a strong framework of both concepts. Human rights in In the Constitution of Bangladesh, human rights are enshrined as the fundamental principles of state policy. These lay out socio-economic rights, that is, emancipation, emancipation of peasants and workers, provisions of basic necessities, public health, and morality. Crucially, these are not judicially enforceable in court. Article 825 describes human rights. আসেন 2 নম্বর হচ্ছে ফান্ডামেন্টাল রাইটস ইন দ্য কনস্টিটিউশন পার্ট 3. দ্য কনস্টিটিউশন legally guarantees 18 fundamental rights, article 27 to 44, all which are actionable and judicially enforceable in the Supreme Court of Bangladesh. Number 2 question: human rights and fundamental rights under national and international law, including the Constitution of Bangladesh. Human rights are universal, inherent moral claims shared by all individuals simply by virtue of being human, whereas fundamental rights are specific human rights protected, written, and made judicially enforceable under a nation's sovereign constitution. While human rights operate broadly under international treaties, fundamental rights and serves as a supreme legal shield against state overreach within national borders. International law framework. International law provides the fundamental blueprints for rights. The legal framework is governed by the International Bill of Human Rights, which consists of three core components: Universal Declaration of Human Rights, UDHR 1948, the fundamental text starting 30 universal human rights spanning civil, political, economic, social, and cultural domains. International International Covenant Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, ICCPR 1966, a legally binding treaty security the right to life, freedom of speech, and fair trials. International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, ICSCR 1966, a legally binding treaty governing the rights to education, health, adequate food, and housing. Fundamental rights under the Constitution of Bangladesh. The Constitution of Bangladesh translates international human rights standard into domestic law through two distinct sections. Number 1, fundamental principle of state policy, part 2. Part 2 of Constitution, Article 8 to 25, houses socio-economic rights like the rights to food, clothing, shelter, education, and healthcare. Per Article 8, sub Article 2, these rights are not judicially enforceable. State they serve as ideological guidelines for governance and lawmaking. Fundamental rights, Part 3. Part 3, Article 26 to 47A guarantees 18 judicially enforceable civil and political rights. Article 26 explicitly states that any existing or future domestic law inconsistent with these fundamental rights is automatically void. The 18 fundamental rights are categorized by who can claim the right. The rights guaranteed to all persons, citizens, and foreigners alike. Article 23, protected of right to life and personal liberty. Article 33, safeguard against arbitrary arrest and detention. Article 34, prohibition of all forms of forced labor. Article 35, protection against retroactive criminal trial and cruel, unusual, and degrading punishment. Article 41, freedom to profess, practice, and propagate any religion. Rights served exclusively for citizens of Bangladesh. Article 27, equity before the law, entitlement to equal legal protection. 27, prohibition of discrimination by a state on grounds religion, race, caste, sex, birthplace. Article 29, equality of opportunity in public sector employment. Article 31, right to enjoy protection of the law and to be treated only in accordance with the law. Article 36, freedom of movement throughout Bangladesh. Article 37 freedom of peaceful assembly. Article 38 freedom to form associations and union. Article 39 freedom of thoughts, conscience, speech and the press. Article 40 freedom to choose any lawful possession, trade and occupation. Article 42 right to acquire, hold, transfer and dispose of property. Article 43 privacy of home and correspondence. Constitution enforcement mechanism. The defining feature of fundamental rights in Bangladesh is their instant judicial remedy. Under Article 44, citizens have an enforceable right to move the High Court Division of Supreme Court to restore their compromised liberties. This is executed by filing a writ petition under Article 102, where the High Court can issue a specific order such as habeas corpus or mandamus to compel government organs to comply with the Constitution. Question number 3, development as disease in Bangladesh. Bangladesh has demonstrated significant commitment to the UN's 2030 agenda, aligning all 7 sustainable development goals (SDGs) with its national development plans. While the country has achieved notable success in poverty elevation, zero hunger, and infrastructure development, it faces mounting challenges in climate action, gender equality, and institutional reforms. Key progress and strength: poverty and hunger. Bangladesh has shown strong performance in reducing multi-dimensional poverty (SDGs 1) and enforcing food security (SDG 2) despite global economic headwinds in infrastructure and industry. Substantial progress has been made in connectivity and innovation (SDGs 9), highlighted by mega projects like the Podda Bridge and improved digital infrastructure. Health and education. The nation has advanced well-being (SDG 3) and quality education (SDG 4) through the improved child mortality rates and expanded primary school enrollment. Major challenges: climate action SDG 13. As one of the most vulnerable countries to climate change, Bangladesh faces severe threats from rising sea level and extreme weather, despite contributing less than 1% to global emissions. Gender and equality SDGs 5 and 10. Stagnant progress remaining in narrowing gender gaps and reducing inequalities across marginalized communities. In institutional strength and partnership SDGs 17 and 16. Economic shocks such as inflation and supply chain issues from the pandemic and geographical conflicts have strained economic partnership and institutional governance. A strategic implementation to ensure no one is left behind, the government has integrated 66 key indicators directly into its 18 5-year plan. Question number 4, development activities of the UN. The United Nations derives global and local development primarily through the UN Development Programme UNDP and affiliated agencies like UNICEF, UNICEF and WHO or WHO. Their initiatives aims to eradicate poverty, reduce inequality and promote sustainability through a strategic partnership, philosophy reforms and community level projects. The UN's core development activities center around several key focus areas. Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) are universal call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity by 2030. Climate action and resilience. Building resilience in vulnerable areas against climate change impacts and promoting sustainable low carbon urban development. Domestic governance. Assigning countries in developing transparent public policies, improving human rights, and strengthening rule of law institution, economic empowerment, and digital inclusion, expanding access to economic opportunities and digital public infrastructure to boost livelihoods, gender equality, and youth empowerment, placing women and young people at the center of development as active agents of the change in Bangladesh. Especially, these activities are tailored to support the nation's ongoing graduation from least developed country LDC status. Current localized development projects in the region include low carbon urban development LCUD, promoting energy efficiency and waste to energy solution in major urban areas like Dhaka and Chittagong, including features partnering with local and indigenous communities such as those in the Chittagong Hill Tracts to protect rights, secure livelihood, and build climate resilience. Digital public infrastructure, collaborating with the government and global partners to enhance public finance management and expand financial inclusion. Question 4b. Development work of NGOs in Bangladesh. Non government organizations NGOs are vital to Bangladesh's socio-economic progress, operating to areas such as poverty alleviation, healthcare, education, disaster response, and climate change. They partner with the government to target services to marginalized populations and fill critical gaps in the rural and remote communities. The development landscape of NGOs in Bangladesh spans several core sectors: microfinance and poverty elimination, microfinance and poverty alleviation, healthcare accessibility, education and skill development, disaster and climate change, advocacy and human rights. So, NGOs in Bangladesh works the following thing: microfinance and poverty alleviation, education and skill development, disaster and climate change, advocacy and human rights. তাহলে বাংলাদেশের এনজিওগুলো বাংলাদেশে কী কাজ করে? মাইক্রোফাইন্যান্স বা ক্ষুদ্র ঋণ এবং দারিদ্র দূরের কাজ করে, স্বাস্থ্য নিয়ে কাজ করে, শিক্ষা এবং স্কিল ডেভেলপমেন্টের কাজ করে, ডিজাস্টার ক্লাইমেট চেঞ্জের কাজ করে, অ্যাডভোকেসি অ্যান্ড হিউম্যান রাইটস নিয়ে কাজ করে। Notable institutions operating in regional include BRAG, which famous on comprehensive development including education, health, microfinance, and ASHA, known for its extensive microcredit programs. Thank you very much.